If it's sex that makes the world go around, should the world stop for those of us who are asexual? I graduated from college a year ago, 3 years ahead of my peers, and now I spend most of my time inside my apartment in the city. My father pays my rent. I could leave the house more, and I could even get a job, but I don't have much motivation to. My father would like me to work, but he has no right to complain. I remind him that it was his idea to skip me 3 grades in grammar school, forever putting me at the top of my class academically, in the bottom 5th height-wise, and in the bottom 22nd socially. My father is also the one who told me what I refer to as the big lie. But that, like all the business with my professor, is a story for later on. When I get back to my apartment building, Bobby the superintendent asks how I'm doing, then takes the opportunity to stare at my rear end. I ignore him and climb the front steps. Bobby's always staring at my rear end. He is also too old to be named Bobby. There are some names that a person should retire after age 12. Sally, for example. If Sally is your name, you should have changed it upon reaching puberty. Grown men should not be called Joey, Bobby, Billy, Jamie, or Jimmy. They can be Harry until the age of 10 and after 50, but not between. They can be Mike, Joe, and Jim all their lives. They cannot be Bob during their teenage years. They can be Stuart, Stephen, or Jonathan if they're gay. Christian is not acceptable for Jews. Moisha is not acceptable for Christians. Herbert is not acceptable for anyone. Buddy is good for a beagle. Matt is good for a flat piece of rubber. Fox is good for a fox. Dylan is too trendy. I get in through the front door, and the stairwell door, and the apartment door. When I am finally inside, I experience tremendous afterglow. They make the apartments in New York as hard to get into as Tylenol bottles and almost as big. I see a therapist, Dr. Petrov, once a week. He and my father grew up in London together. I don't really need to see him, but I go each week because I might as well get my father's money's worth. The morning after I rent the DVD, I leave my apartment to see Petrov. It's drizzling softly outside. The air, a soupy mess, scrubs my cheeks, and the few remaining leaves on the trees bend under the weight of raindrops and dive to their deaths. A pothole in front of my building catches them, emitting a soggy symphony. There's something I love about visiting Petrov. His building is on one of those quaint little blocks that almost make you forget how seedy other parts of New York can be. Both sides are lined with stately brownstones, whose bright painted shutters flank lively flower boxes, the tendrils dripping down and hooking around wires and trellises. The signs on the sidewalk are extremely polite. Please curb your dog. $500 fine for noise here. It's idyllic and lovely. But the only people who get to live here are the folks who inherited these rent-controlled apartments from their rich old grandmas who wore tons of jewelry and played tennis with Robert Moses. Petrov's waiting room is like a cozy living room, with a gold-colored trodden carpet and regal-footed chairs. One wall is lined with classic novels, a pointless feature since one does not have the time to read Ulysses while waiting for a doctor's appointment. A person would have to make more than 300 visits to Petrov in order to finish the book, which just proves that someone would have to be crazy to read all of Ulysses. But a waiting room is not the proper place or situation to read any book. All books have a time and a place. Anything by Henry Miller, for instance, should be read where no one can see you. Carson McCullers should be read in your window on a hot summer night. Sylvia Plath should be read if you're ready to commit suicide or want people to think you're really close. On Petrov's coffee table, there's more literature. The L.L. Bean catalog, Psychology Today, the Eddie Bauer catalog, the Pfizer Annual Stockholders Report. I admire Petrov's ability to incorporate his junk mail into his profession. The door to Petrov's office opens and a short guy walks out, lowering his eyes as he hurries past me. No one I've ever passed coming into this office has made eye contact with me, as if it's embarrassing to be caught coming from a therapy appointment by someone who is about to do exactly the same thing. Petrov stands in his doorway.
How are you doing today, Carrie?